What's your name?
My name is Ashley Rowden.
Where do you come from?
I work at the National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research in New Zealand.
And what are you thinking about the symposium?
The symposium is really great. I mean, there's a lot of people here. I think probably the most people that have come to a deep sea biology symposium. I think there's at least 350 people. There's over 400 posters which people have been able to see, as well, of course, many talks. I think the one thing to see, which is nice, is that there's a lot of young people here. The proportion of women versus men is also higher than I've noticed before, in terms of women being better represented here than in the past. There's lots of talks around certain topics which are showing the importance of those topics for society at the moment. Those include concerns about the impact of deep sea bed mining. There are also talks around technological or methodological approaches which are being able to increase our understanding. One of those is use of genetic techniques to look at the connectivity of populations within regions or between different regions on the globe. And those sorts of studies are important for the increasing need to come up with good ways to manage the disturbances which mankind imposes upon the deep ocean.
What is your definition of deep sea?
Most people use the sort of semi-arbitrary definition of deep sea, and that is the waters beyond the continental shelf. And the continental shelf, in most cases, usually extends to around 200 meters. But in other places, it can be much deeper. For instance, in the Antarctic, it can be about 800 meters. So generally, we consider the deep sea anything beyond the continental shelf.
And do you recognize anyone here?
Yes, yeah. I've been coming to these symposiums for a number of years now, and I'm, I guess, if you like, sufficiently advanced in my career to know quite a number of people. And it's always great to come to these sorts of symposiums to not only find out what the latest research is, but to meet old colleagues, re-establish friendships, and also collaborations into the future.
As you said, there are many students here. What do you think is their role in a symposium like this?
Well, it's very important that students come to a symposium like this, and it can be difficult for them to come because of the cost to attend such symposium. Also, this symposium is only held every 3 years. So again, in a typical PhD study, they might only get this one occasion within their PhD time to come to a symposium like this. So it's very important they come here. They'll obviously be able to learn, but they will also be able to contribute by making presentations about their study. And that's good practice for them in the sense of being part of something wider and communicating the results of their research. They also have the opportunity to make contacts with people who they might work with in the future.
What do you think about the organization all week?
Well, I was the organizer for the last symposium in New Zealand, and so I know from personal experience this is a very difficult thing to do. We're not trained conference organizers, we're trained scientists. And so I think no matter what anyone does to host a conference such as this, especially such a large one, is a remarkable achievement. And so I would certainly never offer any criticism of a conference like this. I can only offer praise, and I think Marina and her team have done a wonderful job of making a very successful conference, and I'm sure everyone will remember it very fondly.
If I asked you about the most important message or the most important thing that was said in here, what would you say?
Well, that's an interesting question. It's quite difficult to think of right now. I guess what happens is we tend to distill that sort of thought as we leave from here on our trains and planes. I think at the moment, I would say that there are definitely concerns about what mankind is doing in terms of disturbing particularly the deep sea floor from potentially the likes of fishing and mining. And I think we've really got to get to better grips with how we're going to manage that. And I think a lot of talks discuss the sorts of implications of their research for management. And I think that I would say probably in the next 5 years or by the time of the next symposium, we're going to be hopefully doing a much better job of providing information for environmental managers.
And to finish, what do you think this deep sea research will proceed in the future?
Well, I think it will proceed hopefully at a better rate than it's going at the moment. I think we are sometimes constrained by the funding issues, and I think we're at the moment, certainly a number of countries, Portugal probably included, are facing funding issues. I know we do in New Zealand, and that's our concern at the moment. We've got people who have the knowledge, we have people who are energized to do it, But unless we have money, and deep sea research can be very expensive, then we're not going to make the progress that we should do.